Are we ready? Well, we're gonna have to be now that it's 6 o'clock, right? All right. So I'm Shannon. Welcome to Tiny Kitchen Reluctant Cook, where I'm all about making real meals in small spaces without the fuss. So tonight I'm doing my very first live cooking demo. My heart is pounding. I have done like 3 in-person parties. They were awesome, but I've never done like this type of a live. I've done lots of videos, which you've probably seen, but I've not done a live. So when I get nervous, I get chatty. So I have notes. So I'm going to try to stay on track. Tonight we are going to be making a creamy garlic Parmesan chicken and veggie skillet. The recipe says it takes about 20 minutes, but because I'm going to be chatting, it's obviously going to take a little longer. So I'm hoping to get you guys out of here in about 30 minutes. So fingers crossed that I can stay on track. Wish me luck on that. If you happen to want to be cooking with me tonight and you've got your ingredients, go ahead and get them all together if you haven't already. And we're going to get started. So I already cut up some chicken and I have just another thigh to cut up. I did just buy the little package of thighs. Boneless, skinless thighs. To me, I feel like they have the best flavor and they cook the easiest and they don't dry out. So those are mine. So we're gonna get started on that. All right, get the skillet going. So I am gonna be using, this is the 10-inch stainless steel non-stick. So this line is not available anymore. They discontinued this line because they have the brand new stainless steel cookware set that's out right now, which is amazing. It's so pretty. But we're going to be cooking with this basically the same way. So you'll get a little bit of education on how to cook with stainless steel and kind of do's and don'ts and things like that. So I don't know if you can see, but here I have like a little slot in my sink area here. So I've got a cutting board on one half of my sink and I have another cutting board on the other half of my sink with a little space in between for water. So this is how I navigate my tiny kitchen. You might be asking, how did we end up in a tiny kitchen? I'm sorry, how did we end up in a tiny RV? Is more like it, right? So we did that because a few years ago, hubby wanted to start his own business. And I thought, well, this is kind of a perfect opportunity because the kids are out of the house. It was just the 2 of us. And I kind of said, hey, you want to move into the camping trailer for a little bit until you get your business going? And that's what we did. So we did that. I was like gung-ho about cooking in a tiny kitchen. So I'm going to put some olive oil in here. So when you're side note, when you're cooking in stainless steel, you definitely want to have some kind of healthy oil in the pan. So what Pampered Chef recommends for our stainless steel pans so that you get the best wear out of them is to use high smoke oils like avocado oil, olive oil that is not extra virgin olive oil, canola oil, and grapeseed oil were some of the ones that they recommended. And so they don't recommend the extra virgin olive oil if you're going to do high heat, or the refined coconut oil. Another thing that we recommend doing as well is when you cook with any of the pans, not even just stainless steel, but any of the pans, keep them on more like a low to medium-ish type heat, and low and slow is really the best way to keep your pans in optimal shape and to cook your food so one part's not burnt and the other part's raw and it's not sticking and all the fun things. right, so I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. When you're using stainless steel, the recommendation also is to put some oil in a cold pan, heat it, like I said, low and slow, until you start seeing the oil kind of spread out and you can kind of move it around, and then we're gonna add our goodies. So hubby and I moved into our camping trailer. I got in here, I was gung-ho, I was like, dude, I can take care of this, I'm gonna bust it out, we're gonna have great meals. And the first few times I was so frustrated because this space is so small. And so to give you an idea, from the end of the counter over here to the end of the counter over here is 64 inches. And so that's 5'4", which is how tall I am. So yeah, so I have a stove, a sink, and like this much counter space on the end where I put the coffee maker. So I do have a knife block on here, which is kind of shoved against the wall and it's kind of in the way, but it's the only one I have, so it's just gonna have to live there. All right, so the oil is, so you can kind of see how it's moving around already. It doesn't take long with stainless steel. I have my mix and scraper. This can be used in virtually any pan. This has a heat resistance of up to 500 degrees. I've even used this in the cast iron skillet when we were camping. So yeah, super awesome. It doesn't melt. It also doesn't really stain, but I did read recently that if you happen to stain it, if you leave it out in the sun for a few hours, it bleaches it out again. Who knew? I guess they did. I didn't know. All right, so I'm just gonna spread it out here a little bit. And then we're gonna leave it be. So this is the other thing with stainless steel, is that we have a tendency, I am not innocent here. We have a tendency to want it to cook faster, so we like are working it, you know, and we wanna just get it to go and like hurry up and cook. But with stainless steel, if you want the best cook on it, and especially a good sear, you wanna make sure that you leave it alone until the pan is ready to release it. So it's super weird how it's like right away it sticks to it, and then when it's ready, it releases it. So weird. All right, so we're gonna put some seasonings in there. So salt, pepper, Italian seasoning. Okay, so I'm not really one for measuring. So I just put in there what I think looks good. I mean, I figure you could put salt and pepper in it later when it's done, right? All right, that looks pretty good. And then it also said Italian seasoning, but I didn't have Italian seasoning, but I have this one. Oh, it's backwards. Herbes de Provence. Did I say it right? I don't know if I said it right. So I'm just gonna put some of this in there. Okay. All right, we're gonna let that cook for a little bit. So that says to cook it for 5 to 7 minutes. We're gonna give it a couple of minutes and then we're gonna see if it's still sticky. So yes, so we got into the RV. I was like, I can't take this little kitchen thing anymore. I just don't want to cook, and it was just really a struggle for me for a while. But on the flip side, I was a Pampered Chef consultant, so how can I consult if I wasn't cooking, right? So it was either I quit Pampered Chef and just, I don't know, be miserable, or I figure it out and make the most of it, right? So which one do you think I picked? All right, so we are cooking the chicken. Let's see. I want to make sure that I can see comments in here. That is not the one I want. All right. right, so since this is my first time doing a live, I am trying to navigate the tech. So all fun things. And I don't see my live in here. I'm live. It says I'm live. Where is it? It is not there. It is nowhere to be seen. Okay, well, my idea of wanting to comment and stuff, I guess I'm gonna have to do it from the phone, which is not gonna be fun. All right. Okay. I don't have any comments yet anyway, so I guess we're good there. So crazy. Well, I guess I'll have to figure that out. So anyway, here we go. There we go. I found it. Okay, we're gonna turn that down. All right. Yay! Persistence pays off, right? All right, let's check our chicken. So some of it's coming up. I mean, you can see that it's virtually, there's a lot of it that is unstuck. So we'll just let it sit for another minute so that we're not ripping the meat. So yeah, as I was navigating my tiny kitchen, and I decided, like, if I am going to stay with Pampered Chef, I gotta figure it out. And so one day I just was like, okay, I'm gonna just try to see what kind of meals that are easy to make here. And so I can definitely make pizzas in my tiny little oven on the stone. So those come out really good. Other oven stuff doesn't come out very good. And then I discovered that the propane ovens don't cook evenly. So the stone is great because the stone evens out the heat, right? So the stone was perfect, but anything else I put in there, sheet pans and stuff, meh. I also discovered that if I do use a sheet pan or a casserole dish or something like that, because I have to have flat things, I can't have anything that's taller than a casserole dish, it takes forever to cook. There's one night I was cooking salmon. It was like this salmon veggie sheet pan recipe, and so it was supposed to take 30 minutes, and it took like an hour and 30 minutes. It was horrible. I was super tired that night. It was like when I had come home from work and I was trying to cook, and yeah, it ended up being like 9:30, I think, by the time I finished. It was awful. So trying to navigate that and finding alternative ways to cook in the oven, which now I just use the air fryer because it's just easier that way. So, all right. And then, so once we get the chicken cooked here, okay, so the next thing is to toss in the veggies and the garlic. Okay, so for veggies, you can basically put anything you want in here. So, let me rinse this out, and then we're just going to reuse this. In my tiny little sink sliver. All right, so I decided to put some onions in here. So we're going to do onions with the chopper. And they don't have to be super big. You can chop them how big or small you want. You don't even have to use the cutting board for this. You can use the inside of the lid if you want. And maybe another one. One of my favorite, easiest chopping tools, and that's because it's easy to clean. You just rinse it off, and I just put it up in the cupboard. It's like just really one of those great ones. Okay, so I'm gonna do onions. I'm gonna do tomatoes too, but I'm gonna put them in later because tomatoes, if you cook them too long, they just become what, like mush, tomato sauce. I don't really want that. I just want like tomatoes. So we're gonna wait on those. I did bring out the quick slice, and so you can see that this has, it's like these teeth are serrated, but they're also I don't know how to describe it. You can see they're not straight across. It kind of is in a V shape. So that's better for heartier vegetables, like we're gonna do a zucchini. So all I'm gonna do is cut the ends off of this zucchini. Oh, and the other thing too, with the tiny kitchen, you have to clean as you go. You have to, it's a must. All right, so this is how I'm gonna put the zucchini in. I'm just gonna slice it like this. You line up your lines, and then you just rock back and forth. Oh, and I almost smushed my fingers. But now you have sliced, let's say sliced zucchinis. Super easy. And then from there, if I want to make them smaller, then I can put a couple more in here. I could just put them like this. You can see. We can do it again. Okay. Now we have some more slice. So this I think is a good size. So we're going to stick with this. And we're going to stir up our chicken a little bit more. The other nice thing about this mix and stir is when it gets to the point where we've got some liquid in there, we can it folds the liquid really well. So if you're not me, it doesn't splash out of the pan. Yes, that was a dig at myself. All right, so this is coming right along. Put those in here. All right, and then the other vegetable I'm gonna do are mushrooms. And so I just get the mushrooms from the store that are loose because they're actually a lot cheaper. And then I take the little stems off. I'm gonna put like 4 of them in here. And we're gonna use our quick slice to do these too. Okay. So sliced mushrooms, and those are fine the way they are, so we're gonna leave those in there. Okay, do I want to do more zucchinis? Zucchinis kind of melt into the food too, huh? So maybe I'll do another one. There we go. Kind of have to line up the blades with the bottom of the quick slice so that you can get the blades all the way through. All right. That looks good. Dishwasher safe, but for me, it's also easy for me to clean because I just try to rinse. That's the other thing too, when you're going through and you're in this tiny space, it's best to rinse off your stuff before you know, you're gonna like put it in the sink or whatever. Just rinse it off so then later when you have to go back to clean it, it's not gross. I'm gonna set this to the side for now, and then I like to clean it with the the little cleaning brush, which every kitchen needs to have at least one of these. I have 2. And they come in, now they come in a pack of 3. So, got one for your kitchen, you can use one for your bathroom. Maybe you have 2 bathrooms, one for each bathroom. All right, let's see. All right, so my next thing is to toss in the veggies and the garlic. All right, garlic. What kind of fancy tool do you think we're going to use for garlic? The garlic press. This was one of my very first Pampered Chef products from a million years ago. So, as you could tell, I don't know if you could tell, this is a clove of garlic that just fell out because it was 2 of them. It is not peeled, and so you just stick it in there, not peeled. You just leave it just like that. Squeeze it, comes out, and then it also has this awesome little tool so that you can use like the end of it to scrape this off, so you never have to touch the garlic. And then it usually just pops out like this, and then you can just throw it away, or you can use this end of it to scrape it out of the inside. So pop it in. I like garlic, so we're gonna do 3 cloves, even though the recipe says 2. All right, so you can see it inside there. You can just take this guy and just scrape it out. Super cool. Do one more. Alright, and we're just going to scrape it out. Rinse it off. Make sure the tool stays with it, because the first tool I lost it and then I had to buy another one. Thank goodness for replacement parts. Alright. Throw all of this little excess pieces away. Give this guy a little stir. So what do you guys think so far? I mean, 6:23. I don't think we're going to finish in 7 minutes, but I wasted some of our time with trying to figure out the tech stuff. So once I discovered that I needed to embrace the fact that I live in a tiny space, I have a tiny kitchen, and the business is not growing as fast as we thought it would or that we would like it to. We have been here for a little longer than we expected, which is fine. It does get a little small at times, but for the most part, it's fine. You know, I just embraced it, and that's how Tiny Kitchen Reluctant Cook was born. So before, back in the past, before this, when I signed up in 2020, I had this idea of what I was supposed to look like, who I was supposed to be, all the things. And I really thought I was supposed to be like this perfect chef. And I was supposed to love cooking. And I was supposed to create beautiful recipes. And I was supposed to make 7-course dishes and just like wear the apron and, you know, all the things. And that just was not me. And honestly, there are videos on my YouTube channel from way back then, and you can tell that that I'm different. So now I'm like, this is who I am. I am not I don't mind cooking, it's okay, but it's not my favorite thing to do, and I definitely don't want to cook a 7-course meal. And so like Thanksgiving, kind of, I'm glad it comes once a year, because standing in the kitchen and being in there cooking for hours from like 4 a.m. or whatever, when you got to put the turkey in, and just hours and hours and hours for everybody to sit at the table and gobble it up in 15 minutes, that's not my idea of a good time, to be honest. I would rather have a faster meal and then sit at the table with my family and just enjoy the time together, not be exhausted because I spent several hours in the kitchen. So that's just me. That is not everybody, that's just me. So my favorite meals and my favorite dishes are skillet dishes, for one. Air fryer meals are amazing. The new air fryer and oven that's out right now, there's a great pasta recipe for that. That's very fast and very easy. Yeah, so that's what I'm about. You know, the quick, the easy, the fastish, less dishes, the better, right? Am I right? Especially if you don't have a dishwasher, because, you know, if we're honest, these are the dishwasher. And I know it's like that for lots of people too, but I always had a dishwasher since I got married. So it was kind of a little bit of a shock to come here and not have a dishwasher and have to wash everything myself. So now I got that down. I have a good system now, you know. Still cooking anything more than just this. You know, there's actually, we could put a side dish to this. I didn't prepare it, but you can put a side dish to this. You can eat it by itself, like once it's all done. Or the last time I made it, I put it with pasta. So I made some pasta in the micro cooker and I put it over pasta. That was pretty good. You could put it over rice or quinoa or stuff like that. So, you know, if I have something like that, I can use the micro cooker, just throw it in there with some water, pop it in the microwave for a few minutes. Good to go. These are my favorite things. There is one recipe that I really love to do, and it is a one pot, but it's a ramen recipe that I found off Pinterest. And it does take a little while because there's a lot of chopping up vegetables, a lot of vegetables in it, but it's so good. And that one I might take the time to make, but but these are my favorite types of meals. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. What do we got next? Stir in the broth and the cream. Okay, so I've got some broth and some cream. So it says a half a cup of broth and a half a cup of cream. So this is our 1 cup measure all cup. And this is a cool cup because it does both liquids and solids. So if you had, like, I don't know, rice. I see you in there, Rosie. What other things can you put on the dry side? Rice. You could also put honey, peanut butter. Those are actually pretty amazing. So they used to have this little tiny one, the petite measure all. Oh my gosh, it's like the best one, but they didn't keep it around. It's so sad. But this one I definitely put honey in. It's so awesome. But you could do it in this one too. So we're gonna use, of course, the liquid side, and we're gonna do a half a cup of cream. And a half a cup of broth. Now, do you need to pour the cream out before you measure the broth? If they're half cup and half cup? I say no. Work smarter, not harder, right? So let's just add another half a cup. That makes it a whole cup. And we're good to go, right? Yes. Right on. Let's move this stuff over to the side because we need our space. we're gonna stir this in. Again, try to rinse out your dishes before you pop them in the sink. Just easier cleanup that way. I don't know if you saw that, but I just splashed. That's actually my favorite thing to do. The harder I try not to, the worse it is. Anybody else like that? All right. Okay, so we're gonna let this sit. It says to simmer for a couple of minutes. Guys, we're almost done. All right, I'm just gonna put the lid on that. So, let's see, where am I at in my notes? We talked about stainless steel. We talked about the dishwasher. Space saving. So using stackable bowls, yes, is definitely a space saver. If you are using, if you're using things to cook with that you can put together to save space before you need to go wash it, even better. So I can just shove that into my sink and get it out of the way. Along the way, I try to just, you know, while I'm sitting here waiting for this to simmer, I'm going to just clean up. And this is a perfect time to just kind of give myself some more space. Let's see. Oh, we're going to put this tomato in here. Forgot about that. I forgot the tomato. I love tomatoes. Do you guys like tomatoes? How long do you cook the pasta in the micro cooker? So it depends on the pasta, and I can't cut the tomatoes with this quick slice when they're already sliced. So that's that's a tip. If they're already sliced, you got to use a knife. So it depends on the pasta. So I like to make penny pasta, which I feel like is a little thicker. And so I'll put it in there for like 8 to 9 minutes in the microwave, in the micro cooker. And then I'll take it out and I'll stir it up, and then I will let it sit there while I'm finishing up something else. And then that seems to give it a good consistency. Hubby thinks that the pasta comes out mushier in the micro cooker. I don't see a difference versus if I cook the pasta on the stove or if I do it in the micro cooker. I don't know. I don't think there's a difference, but you know how sometimes husbands are a little pickier than we are. All right, any other questions right now? I'm still cleaning up here. Gonna get rid of this stuff. And then, so I'm kind of bummed that quick slice didn't cut these tomatoes better. Oh, hey, what else can I use for this? Guys, the chopper, right? All right, I did not rinse this one out when I did the onions, but I don't really think that's a problem because they're all gonna get cooked together anyway. Also, did you know that this chopper comes out in pieces? It comes apart in pieces that are like super easy to rinse off and stuff. Yes, super easy. And then super easy just to put it all back together. As I'm saying that. There we go. All right, let's put some tomatoes in here. Should we do them on, can you see? Yeah. I don't think it needs that much chopping. I mean, as you chop it, it turns. Well, you can't see it here, but it like turns, and then it chops, and then it turns, and then it chops. So like super easy. Okay, so I'm gonna throw these in here really quick. Let me give this a quick stir. Hey, we have a pitcher in the catalog that's called a quick stir. All right. We're just gonna throw those tomatoes. I'm kind of excited to try it this way. This is the first time I put tomatoes and onions in it. The last time I made it with yellow squash and mushrooms, and it was really good. Except I think we were talking about this where it was a little bit bland from the pasta, but all in all, it was really good. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, we're gonna rinse this off. And we're gonna set this to the side. And then now what are we gonna do? We're gonna clean the counter. So I have some liquid on the cutting board from rinsing that chopper and also cutting the tomatoes. So one of my other favorite tools is this kitchen tool. Oh, remind me what this is called. Let's see, it is the, oh, I always forget this one. Is this a kitchen tool? Is it just kitchen tool? No, it's gotta be something, a 3-in-1. Oh, maybe it's a 3-in-1 kitchen tool because it has a squeegee side, it has a scraper side, and it has a brush side. So I think that's what it's called, 3-in-1 kitchen tool. Anyways, I use it for the squeegee side all the time. Like I literally just have it hanging right here on the sink rack. All the time I use it. So this I just squeegee off all the juices into the sink. Then that way I'm not messing up my my kitchen towels, right? And so this is a clean, you know, one of those Clorox cleaning wipes. And so yeah, just clean up, clean as you go. Throw that in there. So for the most part, I have really not much to wash. I have the chopper, I have one of the silicone prep bowls, the garlic tool, the measure-all, the knife, and the quick slice. And then I'll have that pan. And then after that, of course, I'll have the dishes from, you know, from dinner. But I don't think that's bad at all. And honestly, I can whip those dishes out pretty quick. Okay, let's take a look and see what it looks like. All right, so the next part to this is gonna make it, this next part's gonna make it amazing. This is the finishing touch. The Parmesan cheese. So we're just gonna spring, again, I don't measure that much. I did measure the liquid because I feel like you gotta have enough liquid. All right, can you tell I like cheese? Okay, so this one, melt in the Parmesan until the sauce thickens, so we're gonna mix it up. Throw the trash away. Can I tell you that I think that kind of living in our travel trailer has also been really good for my husband because his business is a food truck. And so he went from working in a restaurant with a full kitchen for years and years to working out of a food truck, which is like this. It's tiny. And so the skills that we learned in having a tiny kitchen in a small space, he also took those over there, and I've taken some tips from him and brought them over here. So it's been kind of awesome that we have kind of more experience with dealing with small spaces, and it's worked in both of our, you know, for both of us. So that's been pretty awesome. All right, oh, let me put this away. Tiny spaces, y'all, tiny spaces. Now you might be asking, do you expect to stay in this tiny space forever? And the answer is no. I do not expect to stay in this tiny space forever. In fact, we are looking to upgrade. We just haven't decided if it's more beneficial to upgrade our RV to like a fifth wheel or something like that with pop outs and a nice kitchen and all the fun things, or a house, because everything is just, you know, with the cost of living and everything here in the West Coast in Oregon, it's pretty high. So we're kind of on the fence about like, if we're going to invest all that money, like, where do we want to invest it? So we're in limbo still in that. So we just stay here and we just make it work, because positive energy and positive mindset will give you positive outcome, right? So we just can't dwell on the negative all the time, or we will just always be miserable. And that's what was happening to me the first couple of years we were living here, is I just kept thinking like, we're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here. We got to get out of here, you know, and the universe and life just doesn't work on your terms usually. So just accepting what's going on, embracing it, and making the most of it is really the best way. So, all right, let me grab a bowl. We'll get one of these fancy blue ones so you can see the dish. So the other thing it says, if you want to, you can sprinkle some mozzarella over the top too. I don't have any, so we're not going to do that, but I just feel like this would be so good. It's pretty cheesy. This would be so good just over some pasta. I was going to make rice this time because we made pasta last time, but now that I'm looking at it, it just looks so good. It kind of looks like a chicken fettuccine almost with vegetables. But, all right, let me get my fancy oven gloves. And then I can pick up this hot pan and show you what it looks like. Go. Can you smell it? You can see the steam. It smells really good. All right. This is not a great scoop. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Don't burn me at the steak. I have a non-Pampered Chef spoon. I know. Don't tell Pampered Chef. Let's see. How cheesy. All right. Get all that cheese in there. Probably put it with a fork, maybe. There you have it. Creamy garlic Parmesan chicken and veggie skillet. So, I mean, it's 6:45, but we talked a lot during that time. I was a little bit slow. I was having some tech issues. So, a little later than I was hoping, but I do want to just wrap this up with a few announcements and some things that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so get my notes here because I had to write down things so I wouldn't forget to say them. Okay, so before I let you go, just a quick heads up, our catalog is changing as of September 1st. So there are tons of products, like surprisingly, there's like, right now you can look in the website under Now and New. It's called Now and New, right? New and Now. And then go up to this last chance section. There's 88 products in there. Some of them are already sold out, but these are all the products that are going to be discontinuing as of August 31st. So if there's anything in there that you want to grab before it's gone, you need to let me know, because I actually have right now 2 fundraisers that I am co-hosting right now for 2 amazing organizations. MedQuest, which helps rural Oregon students get some medical experience, and it's kind of a little medical camp where they partner up with some of their local medical offices, so these kids can get some hands-on training, and so they can go into professions in the healthcare field, which is amazing. And so this one's kind of a personal, it's a little personal for me because our best friend's daughter went to this camp and loved it and could not stop talking about it. But unfortunately, a year later, she was in a tragic car accident. So I wanted to help my host, who is her grandmother, do a fundraiser for this organization to help give them funds to help for a scholarship program to any student that may not be able to afford to go, that we can help them. So if you feel like you would like to support that organization and get some of those tools, that would be amazing. Let me know. I will give you the link. The other fundraiser that I'm also doing is called Evan's Box. And this one also is close to my heart. And that's because I'm in healthcare, and I've been in healthcare for like 30 plus years, but I have been in OBGYN for over 20. And so Evan's Box, they have handmade little tiny hats and blankets and booties and wraps that they make for grieving families who have lost their angel babies. So these are babies that were unfortunately did not make it past somewhere between 12 and 20 weeks gestation, 12 and 22 weeks gestation. So to honor these little ones, they make these little tiny hats and booties and blankets and wraps and things that they give to the families so that they can still honor the baby. And it's not just, sorry, So super, super amazing cause. And just as soon as I heard about it, it just got me in the feels for sure, because I have worked with patients who have lost their babies in utero, and it is awful. So yes, if you would like to support this cause, let me know, and I'll be happy to send you the link as well. If there are any of the products that I used here that you are interested in, also you can do that, and we can use one of those 2 links to put your order in. The new stainless steel cookware is available now. So this is awesome. It is a new fall product, but it's available now. So if you were wanting to grab one of those new stainless steel skillets, absolutely, they're available. Of course, stainless steel, and they're beautiful. Sometimes people feel like they're a little bit spendy, and if you are one of those and you're thinking like, I can't do this right now, I might have to wait, that's totally fine. Or we can set you up with your own shopping link, and once you qualify, you can get 60% off of any one of the pieces of cookware or the entire set. Like the entire set is a 10-inch skillet, a 5-quart skillet, so it's like the flatter, wider one with handles, and a 3-quart saucepan, all with glass lids, just like this one. And with the 60% off, you can get it for like $159. So yeah, super steal, super awesome. So let me know on that front. And then lastly, the very last thing that I want to throw out there is that if you have ever been curious about what I do and how I do it and what it looks like behind the scenes, and maybe like kind of a little envious that, some of us can get free stuff a lot, and always, we'll never pay full price for anything, hit me up, because I actually have 2 25% off new consultant kit credits now that are going to expire in 3 days. So if this is something you've been thinking about, hit me up. We got to get you in. And you know me, I'm not pushy. I will not force you into anything you don't want to do. I just need to tell you the goods because I think this is the goods and I think it's amazing and I think it will change your life. So, all right, friends, I think that is it for me. This has been possibly an episode of a weekly series that maybe we'll be doing for Tiny Kitchen Reluctant Cook, where meals are real in this really small place and we try to do them with no fuss. And we're going to get better at that tagline. But we'll see you next Thursday. So that's September 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to post on there what I'm going to be making. I haven't decided yet, thinking about it. But if you liked this live, please put it in the comments. I want feedback. I would love suggestions. Do you have a meal you'd like me to make? Bring it on. Let me know. Super happy. Fundraisers. If you want a fundraiser, comment down below the word support. If you want a recipe for this meal that I just made, comment the word recipe. If you would like more information on these discount coupons that I have for the kit credits, comment info. All right, I'm gonna go, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'm sorry it was 51 minutes instead of 30. I was trying, but I had a lot to say apparently. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.